I think there's something to be said for the state of gaming in the most recent years. Not just games development, but also games journalism, and the culture surrounding gaming as a whole. As we have undoubtedly heard at this point, CD Projekt Red has been lying to fans for almost the entirety of the development for Cyberpunk 2077. The devs have been crunching for the whole of the project, not just the last few months, as the studio has claimed just a few weeks ago. With 80 to 100 hour work weeks at a minimum, and 12 to 16 hour days, with incredible levels of burnout, this style of development is less crunch and more death march, and has led to hundreds of employees coming home to barely grab a bite to eat and a wink of sleep, and come right back into work bright and early to do it all again. This is horrible for the physical and mental health of anyone, not to mention the strained or damaged interpersonal and familial relationships that also come with this cost. And what is it for, really? For a lot of people, Cyberpunk has come out as a bug-filled mess that is not worth the hype it drummed up over the last 8 years. Xbox One and PS4 owners can barely play the game at all, and PC players have hit or miss experience. I happen to be one of the lucky ones facing very few, negligible at best, problems. Metacritic scores are down, and the studio has decided to rescind the original plan and give out these bonuses anyway, no longer tied to a numbered score due to the state of the game at the moment. And the score is only high in some respects because of the pressure put upon the journalism sites and industry. As we've seen in the past from the likes of multiple game companies, the sites know they'll get blacklisted, shunned from whatever community the game fosters, and even in some capacity get set death threats, even if a part of their free-to-access public review is even slightly against the masses. So the scale of games dev has shifted over the years to this unforgiving scale. Anything below a 7 is unplayable garbage, where 7 itself is barely passable, and an 8 to 10 is at the very least an okay game. It's a mockery of journalistic integrity, but the readers don't help it in the slightest. Not to mention that these people writing for the games are putting in the 40 plus hours of time to play the game, if they get an early code at all. And besides, that time restraint and pressure to produce click-worthy content, let alone anything thoughtful. I myself have completed massive open-world games in only a few days, having gotten the review code 3, maybe 4 days before embargo is lifted, sacrificing my own time and stressing myself out to no end to simply get it all done. And on top of that, you might get lambasted by your following just because you didn't write a glowing review. It's awful on so many levels. And unfortunately, it's an endless cycle. For this, it's unfair that a game with such famously terrible conditions like Naughty Dog has won in so many categories at the Game Awards this last week. It's immoral to put something like that up on a pedestal, to glorify the end result when we could see what it was doing to the people working on it the whole time. The number and level of controversies that have come out about the game during and after development is staggering. Much like Red Dead Redemption 2 having realistically shrinking horse testicles, The Last of Us 2 was packed with unnecessary features that took too long to develop for the sake of immersion, where nobody would notice unless an article was written about it. We throw praise at these companies for producing these killer apps, which gives them the right to abuse and misuse their employees because they have apparently made one of the best games of all time and can now do no wrong. We then churn out our own content to support these companies because we need their games to give us the views to keep us afloat. So we continue to praise these companies even if the working conditions on both sides are ludicrous. And that's nothing to say about how the top execs who just get to rake in the money from all the people that are getting stepped on below them. There needs to be more fair and safe working conditions at studios around the world. CDPR may have had to pay their employees a fair overtime wage, but that's because of Polish law. The US has no real protection like that for their studios. This is just an unfortunate truth about games development and games journalism that we don't want to acknowledge. We want everything to be happy, bright, shining, and perfect. We want all of our games to get perfect scores, and we want all of our games to be good. However, that's not how this goes. And this isn't just for games like Cyberpunk or The Last of Us 2. It simply can't be. From Call of Duty to League of Legends, every game you play these days is built on the broken backs of hundreds of underpaid and underappreciated people. So I urge you to remember this the next time you want to buy a massive, overhyped AAA experience. Think of the development cost, not in money, but in humanity.
Hello once again, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends. And as you can see, it is the holiday season. We are only a couple of days away from Christmas, but you're joining us here on Gaming Nest News. We've got some big news and some big pieces for you coming up this week, especially with the holidays ever so close to approaching. Like I said, only a couple days left until Christmas, but that still means you got plenty of time to try to get your friends and family some games and gaming accessories for Christmas. And our boys over at Project Supervillain have put together a list of games that they think would make great gifts for your friends and family this holiday season. Boys, take it away.
What's going on, guys? I'm Mark Drifter.
I'm Midnight White.
We're from Project Supervillain. So today we're going to be presenting you 5 games that we actually think you should go get somebody for the holidays before those are done. These games are all excellent games, and let's just get into it because we don't have much time.
They make good gifts, guys. So, in no particular order, the first game on our list here is Doom Eternal. Now, it is a FPS game, as I'm sure you're all aware. It's been that since the dawn of its creation. Basically, you're killing demons, you're saving the world, and doing whatever the fuck you want to do, because you're the Doom Slayer. Go get that shit.
This game's available on all major platforms. You can get it on the Switch, even on Xbox, PlayStation. Obviously, it's going to be best played on a high-end PC or on some of the newer gen consoles, but definitely go grab that game. It's freaking awesome. The next game we have here is Animal Crossing: New Horizons. So this game is a social simulator. It's fun single player, but even more fun multiplayer. Essentially, it's like Sims, but with animal friends. You're building houses for people. It's a very chill game. You're not going to worry about anybody killing you or anything like that.
So, unlike a few of the other games on our list, this one is available only on the Switch. That's right, this is a Nintendo exclusive, so if you want to play yourself some Animal Crossing, better get yourself a Switch, and hey, what better way to sweeten someone's Christmas morning? A Switch and Animal Crossing? Up next is Ghost of Tsushima, one of our personal favorites for this year, and it's a third-person hack-and-slash RPG. Got some stealth elements in there, epic narrative, absolutely worthy of all the praise that it's getting. That is one of my favorite games on PS4. And added near the end of this year, actually on my birthday, funnily enough, they added the multiplayer mode for this, which was Ghost of Tsushima Legends, so it's a good way to play it in co-op with your mates. It's pretty trippy and psychedelic, a very demonic look to it. It's really fun.
The exact opposite of what the game single player is, and I highly recommend checking it out because this game really has something for everybody because of that multiplayer. It's only available on the PS4 though, so you make sure you have that one. You can't get it anywhere else except PS5, of course, for that backwards compatibility. The next game on our list here is Ghost Runner. This game is absolutely a hidden gem. It's great. It's a first-person action platformer. You're basically a cyber ninja and you're trying to stop an evil overlord. The gameplay loop is very arcade-like. One hit and you're dead. You got to get through this essentially level without dying or without getting hit, and you got to take out all the enemies. It's really, really addicting and fun.
So yeah, definitely a lot of fast-paced combat. That one's an absolute adrenaline pumper, and it's available on all major platforms, so go get that shit. You will enjoy it. Promise.
The next game we've got here is Persona 5 Royal. It's a remake of Persona 5, except it's got a twist. There's a bunch of added content to it. If you haven't played the game already, I definitely recommend just getting this one because it's way better than the original. They added so many quality of life changes. And it's a turn-based game, so it's kind of like classic Final Fantasies, if anybody's familiar with that. And again, it's just a remake of the old content, so if you wanted to play that experience, but with better graphics and just a little bit of added touches to the story, this is a good way to do it.
Sounds awesome, doesn't it? That one is available only on PS4, so you're going to have to get yourself a Sony console if you want to play that. Probably works on PS5 too due to the backward compatibility, so check into that. And we've got a bonus entry for you guys today. That's right, time to celebrate. It's Cyberpunk 2077, probably this year's most anticipated game and one of the most anticipated games of all time. We'll talk about that in a little bit because I've got more to say. But it is a FPS RPG, as I'm sure you all know by now. Amazingly deep and cerebral narrative. It's perfect for the cyberpunk world. It just fits the vibe absolutely impeccably. It's got great music that also fits into that world very nicely. There is only one problem with it, and that's that on certain last-gen consoles, it has some major glaring flaws. Hell, even on the current gen and on the PCs, there are still flaws in it. Certain oversights, certain glitches, so it is hard to recommend it.
That's why it's the bonus game.
That's right. It is hard to recommend it on those last-gen consoles, and it is still a little bit hard to recommend it because of some of the oversights and the bugs that need fixing, but still, I think that it is worth mentioning beyond all that. If you have yourself a nice, clean experience like I am, and you're fortunate enough, it is an amazing game to try out. So definitely, if you're feeling like you want to gamble this Christmas, give a gamble on that instead of some loot boxes, because I promise the payoff is much more worth it.
So again, just to clarify, you're going to want to get this game on a PC. Make sure your PC's somewhat high-end too, otherwise you're definitely going to run into problems. Or get yourself one of those brand new gaming consoles, which are incredibly hard to get, so chances of you getting them are not that great right now, sadly. But yeah, Xbox One X, the PS5, and high-end PCs will be your best way to play this game. Otherwise, we seriously just don't recommend it right now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game one day. It just needs more work, and sadly, it got released too early. But that's it for the presentation we've got for you guys today, I guess, with a lack of a better word of what to call it. Go get these games for Christmas, or for whatever holiday you celebrate, actually, before the time is up, because these are great gifts for people, honestly. Some of the best of each genre here, really.
Yes, definitely. It's coming up fast, guys, so don't waste any more time. Get your hands on those, whether it's physical or digital. Wrap them up all nice. Give them to your friends. Give them to your family. It's good stuff if you've got a gamer friend.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next week, though. Take it easy.
Peace out.
Thanks once again, guys, for that great look in at some of these games coming up that are available for you and your friends and family this holiday season. I know there's a lot on that list, but there's definitely a lot that can be found for your friends and family. Now, we're going to take it over to the flip side here. We're going to, Richard's got a bit of information for you and maybe why you should avoid looking at games for your friends and family this Christmas. I know it's kind of a hot topic, especially with some games that were recently released, cough, cyberpunk, cough. But there's probably a good case as to why you maybe should wait on it until some games come up for sale or even later on in the future. So, Richard, let's take a look and see what you've got to say.
Didn't see you there. Hi, welcome to my fabulous house with my roaring fire and collection of books. I'm Richard and I produce content for this program, and I want to get into something really, really deep and interesting to me today. And I wanted to make it about the holiday season, you know, since it's pre or post Christmas 2020. So I wanted to throw my own content and hat in the ring once again, as I've been doing for the last couple weeks, and see if I can entertain you for a bit. Come sit down in my study. It's nice and warm in here. Unless you really don't want to watch this, but whatever, it's fine. Just roll the clip. If you are watching this while it is airing live, Christmas 2020 is almost here. And if you're watching this as a recorded video on some platform, it is either just before Christmas 2020, on Christmas 2020, or past it entirely. Either way you slice it, you are watching this video. I don't need to go into specifics for the year 2020. To put it lightly, it has been a tough time for many families across the globe, and this upcoming and or past holiday is no exception. In the wake of a global pandemic, it has been hard enough to keep up on rent, let alone the celebrations that merit some kind of gift giving. And if you're watching this video, you probably already knew that because you've been living in it. But Christmas 2020 is approaching or has passed, and while commercials, capitalism, game award shows, and even our own program will put out content or advertisements for their products to entice you into spending your hard-earned pandemic dollars on some form of entertainment, in this case, specifically, video games. While we have seen recent advancements in technology and hardware in the form of the PS5 and the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X, a very confusing thing that a lot of parents might disappoint their children on this year, as well as the GeForce 30 series and AMD's RX 6000 series graphics cards available for your PC. These all cost a pretty penny, honestly, but make your games run better and smoother, and with ray tracing enabled, make your games look the best they could possibly could, while allowing for competitive level frame rates. Ideally. Hopefully. However, I will bring an argument as to why, and in the pre/post-Christmas season of 2020, it is not worth buying the latest and greatest video game options on the market. Typically, when a new console launches, we are plagued with issues. I will go into a very brief history of important console failures for their launches. In 2005, The Xbox 360 had very small storage space, was notorious for red ringing, bricking the console entirely. If you remember dealing with that, it was an entirely unnecessary and long process, and would scratch discs while in its own disc tray from time to time. The PS3 got inferior versions of cross-platform games because of its incredibly complicated architecture, had long install and loading times, was notoriously priced being $599 in 2005 for no better reason than it being an alternative to the more expensive Blu-ray players that Sony was putting out at the time. And the online infrastructure was really bad for its entire life cycle, continuing on into the PlayStation 4s. These issues didn't even get fixed until 4 years later, in the case of the PS3 Slim, and 5 years later in the case of the Xbox 360S. In 2013, the PS4 launched with some dead-on-arrival consoles, a rare issue similar to the red ring of death seen on the Xbox 360, and busted display ports or broken drivers for it. The Xbox One, on the other hand, had to be patched immediately out of the box to remove the always-on DRM that was famously hated by consumers prior to launch, required the wholly useless Xbox Kinect to run at all, and was $100 more expensive than the PS4, and had very few interesting mass-market exclusives. On top of this, it also released a week later than the PS4, crippling it when it comes to the market. Now, for the PS5 that was released only a few weeks ago, widely reported problems including overheating issues, controllers that aren't charging correctly, games that get installed without warning, and glitches that can cause console crashes run rampant through first-time boot-ups and users of the PS5. The Xbox Series S and X owners are also having issues with controllers not recognizing inputs. Quick Resume is not working on some titles, your Wi-Fi connection can just break sometimes, and variable refresh rate monitors are breaking or corrupting your video output signal until it's turned off entirely or your monitor is switched out. Plus, both consoles heavily push the use of a smartphone and their respective app to set up your console for you. That is less of a complaint and more of something I personally don't like, because even in the year 2020, not everybody has a smartphone. It's just a really crappy thing to do. It's like when you have to use your phone in order to make sure that your juicer works. It's unnecessary. And this isn't even to mention that one of the biggest games of 2020, Cyberpunk 2077, was already performing miserably or not at all on the backwards compatibility options and on the older hardware, if not outright bricking some of the consoles in some of these cases. Every launch of a console since the option to have internet connectivity has been a mess. It seems the ability to push now and patch later has been plaguing the video game industry more day by day. And the most important factor in not purchasing a new console or video game? The cost! Not only are they going up because companies are greedy and want more money on top of their microtransaction bullshit, you have more important things to do with your limited pandemic-earned funds than to spend it on a box that might not work when you have already bought it. Who wants to spend days of technological frustration when you could instead be spending time with your family? Socially distanced over a Zoom call, of course. And while you do that, why not try playing the enormous backlog of games you still haven't finished on your still perfectly viable PS4 or Xbox One, or even your Steam library. These consoles will only drop in price later. Let that happen. Let them patch the bugs away first. Spend some time with your loved ones this holiday season. I mean, seriously, Astro's Playroom and Demon's Souls can wait. I promise. But either way, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. You've made it through 2020. I am incredibly proud of you. Good job. Let's see what 2021 has in store for it. Hopefully, some better video games and some better options than the ones we're currently seeing. I'll see you then.
Thanks again for that look, Richard. It's really interesting to go back and forth on those two topics, especially going from games you should get to why you should avoid it. But there's definitely a few things to look at before you decide to go ahead and get those games for your friends and family. Now, as you can see, I've got a special guest here with me for our next segment. This is Clip Cat Malcolm, and he's here to help us bring in a couple of our big clips that we've got for you as kind of an example of what you can see when you send in your clips here to Nest, so we can showcase you and your gaming expertise on Gaming Nest News. First up, I've got a clip here from League of Legends, able to take down most of everybody, actually everybody on the other team in a very short amount of time. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened. So that was a great highlight there from my own League of Legends play. But we've also got our producer, Richard, who sent in another Rainbow Six Siege clip of him doing a first time ever in his Rainbow Six Siege history. Let's take a look, because I know he's pretty proud of this, and I am too.
Richard!
Yeah, it's Tom's return.
We're good.
Oh.
I have 35 health.
Okay.
This is most certainly not good.
Cavs in with a pool table? Is that what that is?
I got this.
These
Mine
guys
on
are
the window.
weird.
Yeah, because they aren't playing.
I got
There.
this.
Nice.
Is this an ace?
So far. It's an ace when you get the last guy.
Shut up.
There.
I see ya.
Reload.
Come on, grenade. Don't let me down.
She might not run out now.
That was a really close grenade. I'm also just trying to keep an eye on that window.
Yeah, you watch in front of you. I'll watch right side. I'll just call right if she's there.
Yeah, I've been spotted.
She's smart. She'll just sit on point now.
Come on, run out, run out, run out.
There, right
she is.
Just go.
That ADS denied you so hard.
Yeah, shut up. 30
The
seconds.
diffuser has been recovered.
Maybe just plant and wait for her to come back in. Oh shit!
Yes!
Hey!
Ace!
Once again, if you want to see your clips here on Gaming Nest News, go ahead and send them in to us. We want to see what kind of clips and what kind of plays you could bring to the table. Just send us your clip with all of your social media information, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you use to promote your social medias and your streams. Send it in to us at info@nesthq.online. We'll make sure we put it up here on Gaming Nest News for the world to see. Now we got ourselves yet another big stock market update, especially with some of the tumultuous tidings that have happened to companies like CD Projekt Red after some game releases. So let's go ahead and take a look in at the stock market world and see what's been shaken up thanks to some of these recent releases.
The commissioner is not available for his regular segment, but has submitted a review of one of the biggest business failures to date in the esports investing realm. CD Projekt Red, the well-known makers of Cyberpunk 2077 and the Witcher series, has not yielded any positive results since Cyberpunk's launch. The company itself trades on the Warsaw Stock Exchange in Poland and peaked on December 4th. But plunged about 40% in value after this disastrous launch. The game itself is a variable mix of positive to negative reviews from users. The positives from diehard fans, and perhaps some just happy it was released, but very few seem to be from glitch-free players. The negatives are, of course, from those who rightfully waited for launch day and were severely disappointed by what the final product was, if they had a chance to play it at all. Project Red's stock price has definitely been hit by the sales numbers and are nowhere close to being a top-tier seller. To date, on December 23rd, around 13 million copies have been sold. However, this factor is certainly going to be changed as refund data is still flowing in. At one point, Sony was denying players the ability to be refunded, but that has since changed, and there are no doubt many players that are looking to get their money back. It seems most investors have lost faith that Project Red is going to be able to turn it around, at least within the short term. Although, from some investors and gamers alike, they still see potential for the game with its current sales numbers. That said, only time will be able to tell if Cyberpunk 2077 will be something that CD Projekt Red can rectify for its investors and, of course, for its player base. What's your take for the future of Cyberpunk 2077? Is it going the same way as many hyped games go on release and continue to disappoint, or will it rise back up and recover and deliver its promise to be one of the best games of all time? Let us know what you think. Like I said, our commissioner's not in today, so please leave a comment down below. Or send it an email to info@nesthq.online.
Well, it seems like David has already taken his holiday vacation to the Bahamas. I can't say I'm upset with him because of everything that's happening right now and the weather around this time of year. But hey, thanks, Richard, for bringing that up and for bringing up that information. Just again, some more things to look forward to if you decide to dip your toes into the stock market coming up after Christmas. That is going to be it for us here at Gaming Nest News for this week. Thank you once again to everybody for tuning in, sharing all of our information on your social media pages, and watching us with this show. Once again, we are looking for more contributors who want to be featured on the show, as well as more people who want to see your clips and plays on Gaming Nest News. Once again, send your information over to info@nesthq.online. We'll make sure we work with you to get your clips and get your information, your contributions here on the show. Continue to keep an eye out on all of our social media pages for upcoming tournaments in 2021. We also have information on those things on our Facebooks and Twitter as well. And you may even see some videos on YouTube in preparation for those tournaments. Make sure to hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons on your various social medias here for Nest. We are going to be here weekly with Gaming Nest news, as well as more clips and videos in the upcoming future with more gaming related information. So for everybody here at Nest, we want to thank you for watching. We want to thank you for taking your time out of your busy holiday schedule for tuning in. And we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and the best holiday season you spend, no matter which holiday you celebrate. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.